What is folk etymology, and what does that have to do with my last post? Etymology is the study of word origins, which can be quite interesting. Consider muscle coming from a Latin word meaning small mouse, because we thought our muscles looked like little mice. Or paradise, which comes from a Middle Persian word meaning walled garden, because we thought our walled gardens in Iran were paradisiacal. Sometimes words don't have an interesting origin. Consider the foods hamburger, frankfurter, and sandwich. They're all named after European cities, so we tend to come up with more fanciful versions of their etymology, saying that the Earl of Sandwich was a degenerate gambler and he wanted to eat food with one hand and gamble with another without leaving the table, so he invented the sandwich, hence its name. Other times, a word begs us to come up with a folk etymology. Imagine finding out that one of the early toilet innovators was named Thomas Crapper. Seems like a pretty easy explanation for the origin of the word crap, but unfortunately, all of what I've just mentioned is just folk etymology, folklore. My last post about the origins of masmali is also a case of folk etymology, and there's a few ways you could have found this out. One is that there's no historical evidence for the supposed whitewashing of the walls, and two is that the phrase masmali is actually tested before the Shah was even born in the work of poets. So where does masmali actually come from? Unfortunately, the usual origin of words that have folk etymologies are more mundane. The answer is that yogurt is ubiquitous in Iranian homes, and it is also color neutral. It's white and acidic, which makes it a perfect item to use to wash more ubiquitous items in our homes, rugs, which often have tea or other liquids spilled on them, and our brass or lead plates that we often eat food out of. So Iranians would commonly use yogurt to wash stains out of these, hence the term yogurt washing. Americans use Coca-Cola for this purpose, right? Of course they do. So that's the origin of the word masmali. The work of us linguists and etymologists oftentimes is simply sifting through the folk etymologies from the true etymologies, and sometimes you have to be bearers of bad news and tell you that actually it's just a folk etymology. There's no truth to it, as much as we wish it was true. If you know of any words with interesting folk etymologies, whether English, Persian, or otherwise, comment them below. And if you'd like to learn Persian for free with me, then see the link in my bio.